How's it going, friends? Reckless Yuki here. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. And about 4 months ago, I purchased a lot of mice and a lot of mouse pads, trying to figure out which is the best for FPS gaming. And I compiled this list based on what the top CSGO players use, as well as what other YouTubers recommend as their favorite FPS mouse. Now, this video is going to go over one specifically, but if you'd like to know which is the gaming mouse overall, as far as for FPS games, then definitely check out the video in the link in the description. I basically went over all the 8 mice that I tested and compared them based on categories such as comfort, weight, and performance, since those are the 3 categories I feel are most important when it comes to competitive first-person shooter mouses. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the review, and if you're interested in that video, be sure to check out the link in the description. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the review. Here we are with a close look of the Mionix Castor, and we'll be going over the basic specs of this mouse before we get into my thoughts and opinions of this mouse specifically. Now, the sensor is a Pixart 3310, which is optical, and it's very nice. It's a very responsive sensor. The DPI can go all the way up to 10,000, which is absolutely insane. You can switch between your DPI profiles with the press of that button there. The polling rate of this mouse can go up to 1,000 hertz, which is absolutely insane once again. And the advertised weight of this mouse without the cord is 93.8 grams. Now, with the cord, it's advertised to weigh up to 141.5 grams, which is absolutely insane. But that's not the actual real weight that you're going to be whipping around. With the gaming weight that I weighed myself, I weighed the weight of the mouse with 1 foot of cord, and it came out to 97.29 grams. So that is significantly less than 141, but not too much more than the 93.8 that is advertised. So it is not that unbearable, and it's, decent weight for the mouse, is decently light. The grip the advertised grip use of this mouse is for palm, claw, or finger. I kind of do a hybrid of the palm and claw, and the orientation of this mouse is designed for ergo right-handed users. So it's an ergonomic right-handed mouse, which won't feel that comfortable in a left-handed user. So take that into consideration. Now, as far as the feel and finish of this mouse, it has this nice rubberized grip on the sides and basically the top all around. And on the side here, it has these nice little dimples to kind of help your thumb grip it as well as it can, so that it's never going to slip out of your hand, which is also very nice. The clicks of this mouse feel very responsive, and it definitely gives feedback to reassure me that whenever I'm aiming or firing at someone, that I actually am doing what I'm intending to do. So it's very nice clicks and feels. The side buttons feel all right as well, and the scroll wheel here, it's a little bit mushy for my taste. Like whenever I go up to the next notch, it doesn't give me the reassurance that some other mice will, but it's not unbearable. It's still plenty fine, especially if you use the scroll wheel when you're trying to switch between weapons. And the press of the scroll wheel, when you press it down, is, it's a very responsive click as well, so that's very nice. The only downside, as I say, with the clicks is basically when you're using the scroll wheel, moving it up and down, it could be a little bit more responsive just for my personal preference. The weight of the mouse when you're moving around, it doesn't feel that bad. It's definitely not the heaviest mouse I've used, but it's definitely not the lightest mouse. I prefer something lighter like the Final mouse, but it's not unbearable. Now, as far as the comfort of this mouse, I know a lot of people have been hyping this mouse up as far as being the most comfortable mouse ever, the most comfortable FPS mouse. I would personally disagree. Like, it's not comfortable for the way I grip a mouse. Now, the way that I grip a mouse is basically I have the weight of my palm right here, sitting right here on the mouse, and then I have my index and ring finger fully extended with my thumb basically right below the back buttons here. And then my ring and pinky basically kind of go into a claw orientation on the side. And as I have my hand like this little ridge on the side here that I guess is designed to make it really ergonomic for right-handed users kind of just digs into my pinky a little bit. And I don't really like the feel of that after I've been gaming for a while. It kind of just starts to annoy me. So it's not the most comfortable. And also right here, this little ridge here, I never really know like what to do with my my ring finger, and that kind of digs into my ring finger as I kind of grip the mouse the way that I do. So it's something that I don't personally like. So some people out there do love this mouse, but I'm not one of them just because of the way that these are orientated here. As far as the responsiveness of this mouse, as I use it, it's decently responsive. I mean, it's very impressive. It's a very good first-person shooter mouse. I definitely use this in first-person shooters. But when I'm kind of whipping it around, it doesn't it doesn't give me the warm fuzzy that the final mouse gives me when I use that. So when comparing this to the final mouse, like I don't think that this sensor is as accurate as that. Now that could be just a placebo, that could just be due to my imagination, but I've been switching between all these mice for the past 3 months. And it's come to the point where I always prefer the final mouse in my hand just because as I whip the mouse around, I feel that the final mouse gives me a little bit more responsiveness than this. Now, that's not to say that this isn't nice. This is a very nice mouse, but it's just, I guess, not my personal preference as far as responsiveness. Now, as far as shake of the mouse, I'm going to try to hold down all these buttons and shake it to see if I could hear anything. So all the buttons are pressed and hold the. So as I do this, as I like have all the buttons pressed, I have like both left and right click, the back, forward, and even the scroll wheel pressed down. As I do this, I hear a slight shake, like something in here is rattling a little bit. Now, you're not going to be able to hear it with my mic the way that my mic is, but it's just barely audible to my ear, and I could just hear it barely. So there's something in this mouse that isn't as secure as it could be. It's something that I don't hear with some of the other mice that I have, but it's something I do hear with others as well. So I'm led to believe that it is the sensor that is shaking in the mouse. So if that's something that you can't deal with or something that you really don't like, that's something to be aware of. Now, I'm not sure if it's the same with all the mice, but this is one that is specifically to me and the one that I currently have. So be aware of that. Now, there are no removable weights. There's nothing really to change on the mouse physically itself. The only thing you really change is the LEDs, and you can turn it on or off and basically have it go through any sort of color you want, which can match your setup to whichever sort of color orientation your gaming setup is, which is nice, which is something I wish the final mouse would have, but it doesn't. So I do like that feature of this mouse. Now, that's basically the physical orientation of this mouse, my opinions on it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, what you think of that. And we're going to shift over to the program to kind of do a program overview, so bear with me. So here we are with a close look of the Mionix Castor software in which you use to control everything about your Mionix Castor mouse, which the software from Mionix is actually pretty impressive. I do enjoy this interface. It's nice, clean, simple, and basically lets you do whatever you want with the mouse. So here you have the basic mouse settings. You have your different profiles you can set up to 5. Here you can set up each individual button to do what you need, the rate at which you have to double click, your scroll speed, the pointer acceleration, which you definitely don't want enabled. Definitely have this box unchecked if you have this mouse, especially for first person shooters. You don't want any sort of acceleration or any of that nonsense. The polling rate here, you can set it up to whichever you want. I have mine set up to 1000 and OK and apply the settings that you do for each one of the profiles that you set. The sensor performance is something that I really like. This is one of the reasons I bought this mouse, is for this surface quality analyzer tool, which allows you to analyze the surface or the mouse surface of your mouse pad or mouse mat, whichever you use to kind of control your mouse on for your sensor accuracy. So I like this because it kind of gives me a number representation of how well the surface I'm using is going to reflect with the mouse sensor. So I know that if I feel that my performance is a little low, I can get something that might have a higher sensor accuracy to increase my performance of the mouse. So the more accurate that the sensor is, or the sensor to surface is, the better responsiveness I feel I'll get from the mouse itself. So that is something that I really enjoy using for this tool here. Now, as far as the other things you could change here, you could change, different sort of DPI settings. You can kind of have this set to your heart's content and desire as far as how specific you want each one of these to be. The pointer speeds, the lift distance, which is something that I don't really mess with, but I just kind of have it set all the way to low so that whenever I lift off the mouse, it definitely is going to stop responding to the surface. So if I have to really sweep and then kind of lift off to kind of go back and try to hit someone or kind of get that shot, I can without having to worry that if this is set too high, that I'm still going to be tracking, even though I don't want it to track when I lift the mouse off the mouse pad. So that's what that is. So all this other stuff, I don't really mess with too much. I just have my DPI set to where I need them, 400, 800, and 24, which I mainly just use 800 anyway. The color settings, where you can kind of change how everything happens with the RGBs. This is where you could kind of change things to your heart content. Right now I have it basically going through the whole rainbow with the breathing effect, which, to me is pretty nice, but you can do pulsating, the blinking, and then just a solid where it just solidly changes through, and then you can just like pick a single color that you want it to go through. So pretty nice, but I like the color shift. I like the breathing effect. That is what I personally enjoy. Now, some macro settings. You can set up macros with this, which is something that I don't do, but if that's something that you're really into, this is something that you can do. I haven't really messed with this, so I'm not too familiar with it, but I don't really use macros, so that's my excuse for not using this. Now, support, basically just some generic stuff, and then this is where you could check the firmware version of your mouse, and then the software version, which is 1.44, 1.44, and I just checked with the website. This is still current, and they have updated this in since I bought this mouse 3 months ago, so that kind of goes to show that the mouse is pretty good, and I guess they took their time to make sure it was accurate. There's no need to constantly update anything with the mouse, so that is reassuring. So that's the overview of the Mionix Castor software. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and yeah, be sure to watch my other mouse reviews. So I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, bye-bye.